Hi everyone, welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Clark Wolf, and this is our daily show bringing you the latest in movie news with insight as to what it all means. Joining me, as always, is AMC Movie News Editor-in-Chief John Campea. John, good morning.
Good morning. Greetings and salutations, everybody, on this post-Hangover 3 day. Very special.
And also joining us this morning is AMC Movie News Associate Editor, Miss Amy Rose Eisenbach. Good morning, Amy Rose.
Good morning. How you doing, lady?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Good, thanks.
Okay, let's jump right in. This week, one of the new films opening in AMC theaters everywhere is the final installment of the Hangover series, The Hangover 3. John, you had a chance to watch the film at the red carpet premiere last night. How was it?
Well, I mean, the first Hangover film became like an instant classic. Nobody saw it coming. Everybody thought, oh, this looks like a little throwaway comedy, and it turned into this unbelievable juggernaut of comedy I'm gonna remember for the rest of my life. The second one was as surprising as the first one was. The second one was equally disappointing. It was just terrible. It was just a rehash. So I had hopes for Hangover 3. I gotta tell you, I loved the movie. I really did. I loved Hangover 3. I thought it was really funny, and you won't hear me use this word often. It was the perfect ending to this series. Not that it was a perfect movie but it was the perfect ending to this series. It wasn't just a rehash of the first one like the second one was. But not only was it incredibly funny, the filmmakers did everything right in that they made it feel, suddenly now it felt like a trilogy. It didn't feel just like three separate films with different gags. All of a sudden, this one film, Hangover 3, made the entire series feel like a cohesive trilogy. They brought around all the story loops. They connected everything really well. And oh my gosh, stay after the credits. Don't worry, you don't have to wait through all the credits. Just stay for the first 30 or 45 seconds of the credits. They put in an extra scene. It was the perfect way, the perfect scene to end this franchise. It's great. Everybody in it's funny. John Goodman was a really great addition to it. Chow plays a much bigger role, but when you look at his progression through the series, it was really right. And the way he ties in with the guys and the way the overall story of The Hangover really is about these three guys and Chow. And what also kind of stands out is that Alan, the Zach Galifianakis character, actually kind of becomes the focal character of the series. He becomes the main guy in the series. Not that he has more screen time than everybody, but you just realize that his story in this is kind of the main crux. The movie's really funny. It's not as great or as memorable or as classic as Hangover 1, but a huge improvement over Part 2. And it's so good that it actually makes Part 2 a little bit more bearable when you see how it all ties together as one big story. I'm very impressed with it. And, you know, I got to tell you, I was telling Amy Rose this too, that this is going to be one of those rare times that I really differ with the guys, with all the other critics in the world when you sum up their ratings on Rotten Tomatoes. Because right now, I think Hangover 3 has like a 50%. And I think that's tragically low. I believe this film was done right. It's funny, makes you laugh, and it makes a cohesive story. So for me, a big thumbs up. Amy Rose, you were on the carpet last night. For talking about some of the energy of the, like, what were you sensing from the cast and the crew of the film last night?
You could just tell they had so much fun together making these films. And, you know, a lot of them, we talked to Heather Graham, and she was really sad that it was ending. And Zach Galifianakis is exactly what you imagined him to be, just super goofy and silly and animated. And, you know, we spoke with the writer who wrote the second film and the third, and kind of just how it felt to say goodbye to this wolf pack for him. And it's just a great production. I haven't seen the film yet. I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm really happy to hear that it's better than number 2, because that's an example of literally just trying to do the same exact formula and missing. So I'm glad to hear they kind of reinvented it, closed the loop, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, it's a great job.
Man of Steel is now only about a month away when it opens in AMC theaters everywhere on June 14th. 3 new character posters for the film have been released, now giving us great looks at Superman, played by Henry Cavill, General Zod being played by Michael Shannon, and Superman's father, Jor-El, being played by Russell Crowe. John, after looking at these images, after seeing a number of the big summer movies this year, and now just being a month away, is Man of Steel still your most anticipated movie of the year?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, look, I've seen Iron Man 3, and I really liked it. I saw Star Trek Into Darkness, love that movie. I've now seen The Hangover, great pleasant surprise for me. But still, at my number one spot, I've been saying this since December, my number one most anticipated film, Man of Steel. These posters look great. And oddly enough, when you've got posters of Henry Cavill's Superman looking so great, and Michael Shannon as Zod looking so great, the most badass of these posters is Russell Crowe as Jor-El. I mean, take a look at this image. This is awesome. And I don't know if some kind of gun he's got in his hand there or something. I think everything they've done with the marketing of this film has just been bang on the money, spot on. The tension of the trailers is palatable. The action beats look like they're all going to be there. The tone feels just right. This is going to be the best movie of the year. I'll probably be dead wrong, but absolutely my most anticipated. And no other film this year has the potential to break my heart more than this movie does if it sucks. So yeah, I love these posters, and it is still my most anticipated movie of the year. Amy Rose, what are your thoughts?
Yes, expectations are dangerous. We're so excited for this film, and I just really think that they've done a great job with marketing. They really have. I mean, from the character posters to, keeping enough time in between the trailers, and also like the General Zod, like less branded promotional video. Like, I like every step that WB has taken for this. And again, hopefully this sets the tone for DC films moving forward and is the Superman film we've always wanted to see. My most excited part, the part I'm most excited for is definitely Michael Shannon as General Zod. He just constantly impresses me. I just saw him in Mud, which is a really great film. Matthew McConaughey is great. For all of those who do not realize he's a great actor, Lincoln Lawyer, Time to Kill, he shows again just the depth and chops that he has. But Michael Shannon, even in a small role in that film, he's just so incredible. And when he's on the screen, you can't take your eyes off. So I think he's going to crush as General Zod, and I'm really excited for this movie.
I'm skeptical, but
Come on!
I am. I'm so skeptical.
Have you seen Take Shelter?
No.
Okay.
No, I love Shannon, by the way. And he is,
Yeah.
I agree, the shining point.
He's
that's
amazing.
the thing that I'm stoked to see is him as Zod. I'm skeptical of Snyder, but that's another story. Okay, moving on. We may have waited what felt like an eternity for the first Wolverine trailer to come out, but now we've been treated to the second trailer. The new trailer gives us some more footage we haven't seen yet, including a better look at the giant silver samurai battle armor, as well as Jean Grey. Amy Rose, what do you think of the new Wolverine trailer?
I love it. I am so excited for this film. I think James Mangold's really going to get the bad taste out of the X-Men Origins Wolverine that we all want to forget. Hugh Jackman is just so great in this role. I mean, even with X-Men Origins, he wasn't the problem there. He's just so great. He's so dynamic, and I'm really looking forward to seeing this journey, the more isolation, and side of that. And Jean Grey, I think that's probably going to be the extent of what we see. I mean, we do think it's flashbacks. I think that has been confirmed. But at the end, a little Dark Phoenix action. It's really cool. I love the tone. I love the vibe. Silver Samurai is going to be awesome. So I'm really looking forward to this film.
I'm not as enthusiastic about this particular trailer. I love the fact that we did get to see more Jean Grey, but I think you're right. I think what we see of her in the trailer is probably going to be pretty much the extent that we see of her in the movie, not barring any maybe post-credit scene or whatever. And I love the getting a few extra seconds look at the Silver Samurai. But as a second trailer, look, I'm really looking forward to Wolverine. No doubt I'm looking forward to it. But this trailer didn't really give me anything more that the first one didn't give me. Yeah, a few extra seconds of this, a few extra seconds of that. But I as of right now, I know absolutely nothing more about this film than I did from the first one. Like, not a single iota more. So while I liked watching it, I'm not going to say I'm jumping up and down about this particular trailer. All right, folks, well, listen, we've come to that part of the show for buy or sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Clark has a few other items from the world of movie news that she's going to list off, and Amy Rose and I are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Clark, what do we got?
The upcoming mobster biopic Gotti has just added major talent to its roster as iconic actor Anthony Hopkins has joined the cast. Hopkins joins John Travolta and Kelly Preston and will be directed by Captain America director Joe Johnston. The film is said to be told from the perspective of Gotti's son. John, buy or sell Hopkins on Gotti?
Buy. I buy Anthony Hopkins on Angry Birds. So it doesn't. And I'm a sucker for mobster movies. Anthony Hopkins, one of the great living legends of acting, and I really do enjoy Joe Johnston as a director. So from every angle, for me, it's a buy.
Buy as well, yeah. Add Hopkins to anything. He's a true thespian. He can do absolutely anything. And yeah, mobster films. Goodfellas is in my top 3 films of all time. I just love that world, and I think that Joe Johnston's going to do a really good job at creating it. And John Travolta and Kelly Preston, are they trying to patch something up by being in a film together? Just saying. So I'm looking forward to it.
Charlie's Angels and Terminator Salvation director McG has landed the gig to direct the upcoming film Hunter Killer. Based on the novel Firing Point by Don Keith and George Wallace, Hunter Killer follows an untested submarine captain who must work with a Navy SEAL team to rescue the Russian president, who has been taken prisoner during a military coup. In an effort to stop a rogue Russian general from igniting World War III, Amy Rose, buy or sell Hunter Killer?
I'm going to sell it. I'm not that impressed with Mick G as a director. I like Charlie's Angels, fine, but Terminator Salvation, This Means War. I mean, these are both things that had content that could have been really good, and I don't think his music video style translates to the big screen that well. So even though it sounds kind of interesting with him at the helm, I don't have that much faith in it. Sorry.
Yeah, for me it's a sell as well, and also because of McG. Look, McG did a great job with the first Charlie's Angels, but nothing he has done since has impressed me. I do owe him a debt of gratitude because he created my favorite show, which is Supernatural, granted, and the premise does sound good, but he's got to win me over again, so for now it's a hesitant sell.
As most of you know, Spike Lee is bringing us the English remake of the Asian cult hit Old Boy, and it seems Hollywood mega-producer Lorenzo Di Bonaventura wants in on some of that action. It's been announced that Di Bonaventura will be bringing us an English remake of Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance. The original story involves a poor deaf-mute man who tries to come up with money for his sister's operation and gets ripped off. John, buy or sell an English remake of Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance?
I gotta buy it. This movie is so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous and violent and gory and needlessly so. There's something so magnetic about it when you watch it. So, yeah, I really like the idea they're going to bring it to a North American audience with the remake. Can they match it? I don't know. Just do a good job. It doesn't have to be as good as the original. Just do a good job. So for right now, I'm looking forward to it. I buy it.
Sell. Park Chan-wook is one of the most revolutionary, amazing directors out there, and he has not been able to come to the States. Stoker was incredible, and it's just a real shame that they're taking his masterpieces and remaking it. These are examples of near perfect movies that should not be remade. His style is so incredible, and while Spike Lee is, a fine director, he's not Park Chan-wook, and very few directors are, so I don't want them to touch gold like this. I think it's not a good move.
It's been announced that veteran TV commentator John Vitti, best known for his work on shows like The Simpsons, The Office, and The Larry Sanders Show, will be writing the script for the upcoming Angry Birds movie, the animated 3D film based on Rovio's best-selling app. Additionally, veteran producer Catherine Winder is joining the production team that includes producer John Cohen from Despicable Me and executive producer David Maysel from Iron Man. The movie is slated for a July 1st, 2016 release and will be distributed worldwide by Sony Pictures. Amy Rose, buy or sell Vitti writing Angry Birds?
I sell Vitti, I sell Angry Birds. I just don't think this needs to be made. Sure, I played the app too. Fun times. Do I want to see a movie version? Absolutely not. That's not an interesting. This is an example of really capitalizing on something that should not be capitalized on. Look at Assassin's Creed and Portal and all these games that really do lend themselves. This is a simple little app. Do not make it into a film. No.
I'm going to buy it. While I don't see a need for an Angry Birds movie, other than the fact that if an audience is going to go see it, that means the audience wants it, so give them what they want. Look, if you want to make little gags and stuff like that, just make it funny. Obviously, there's not going to be big, deep narrative to this movie. Then this is clearly a good guy to go to. So if you're simply asking, is this a good guy to write this film? Actually, it seems to make sense. So yeah, for that, I got to buy it.
Despite the fact that producers of the Oscars have reached out to Seth MacFarlane to host the show again next year, the Family Guy creator has reportedly turned down the offer, citing scheduling conflicts, which means we'll have a new host for the next Academy Awards. John, buy or sell MacFarlane not returning for the Oscars?
I got to sell this. Also, I have to sell his excuse saying because of scheduling. He's selling this. He's getting away from this because he got hammered for the awesome job he did hosting the Oscars. It's funny, I was watching this week's episode of Family Guy, and he took a slap at people on it because he had this scene in this week's episode of Family Guy where Stewie goes, "Yeah, I haven't had this much fun since the last time I hosted the Oscars." And then it shows Stewie on stage at the Oscars, just very quiet, going, "I deeply respect all women and the Jews. And then it flashes this newspaper that says, greatest Oscars ever. So that obviously was his slap to the people who criticized. I thought he did such a great job hosting the Oscars last year. I wanted him to come back. I'm really disappointed that he's not. So yeah, I got to sell it.
I'll buy just that. Hopefully it does mean he has other projects. Like, I do know it was kind of split 50-50 with who liked it. Like, my parents, for example, really enjoyed him as an Oscar host, so I don't think it's just a generational thing. He was clever, his timing was great. I thought he did a really spectacular job, but I also love Ted, and I'm excited for A Million Ways to Die in the West, and I am excited for more original Seth MacFarlane content. So, and I also think there could be something good about having a new host this year, and maybe he'll come back next year to keep it fresh and exciting still. And, you know, I think that overall, if they asked him back, there was enough positive reviews on him that, you know, he's going to drop those little hints because that's Seth and he's great, and those little, you know, witticisms. But I really think that he did a great job, and I will be interested to see who they will get to take this, because that's kind of a big shoes to fill. I think he did a really spectacular job. He's my number 2 after Billy Crystal.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Amy Rose. Where can people find you on Twitter?
At Amy Rosie, AMIROSIE. Thanks so much, guys.
All right, thanks, Amy Rose, Associate Editor of Movie News here at AMC Theaters. Well, listen, folks, we've come to that part of the show for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question that you would like us to address on the show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. We get a lot of emails from you guys every day. We pick a few out of the mailbag. Clark's got a bunch of them. So, Clark, what do we got?
Kevin Lorimer writes, "Hey guys, love the show. I watch it every day. If DC Warners does get around to doing a Justice League, what are the pros and cons of using or not using Henry Cavill as Superman for the movie? I feel like if they don't use Henry for Justice League and we get 2 Supermans, that the audience will either be confused and or start comparing both actors and argue over who's better than who, even though they would be completely different takes on the character."
Thanks for the question, Kevin. Yeah, I think it's an absolutely ridiculous scenario if they did something like that. I got to agree with you 100%. Look, a few years ago, Warner Brothers tried to get a Justice League going. It was going to be directed by Thunderdome, Babe, and Happy Feet director George Miller, who's actually a very good filmmaker. And they were talking about running the Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman, doing all this kind of stuff, at the same time that they had another Superman franchise going, because Brandon Routh's Superman was still there, and another Batman franchise, obviously with Christian Bale there. And they were going to get Armie Hammer, who's playing the Lone Ranger now. He was going to be the new Batman. And they were going to run like 2 separate universes at the same time. And I remember thinking that was just a stupid idea. Absolutely stupid idea. Because you're right. It's going to, A, cause some confusion. It's like, wait a minute, so Henry Cavill's not Superman anymore? Or he is? And even if they get over that, there's going to be just bickering about which one is the real Superman, which one's the better Superman, which can't do anything but hurt both franchises. So yeah, it's an absolutely ridiculous scenario. I hope Warner Brothers, by canceling that old Justice League project, is kind of over that idea and they wouldn't pursue it. So I got to believe that once they do eventually get around to doing a Justice League movie, and who knows how long that'll be, but that we'll see Henry Cavill in the role as Superman.
Mike M. writes, "Hey guys, I'm not sure if you've addressed this recently. However, I'm curious if there is any progress on the Adi Shankar female Expendables project. I think it's a pretty cool idea and hope it gets some attention in the future. And who would you consider for a main cast? Personally, I'd love to see Mila Jovovich, Michelle Rodriguez, Gina Carino, and maybe even Angelina Jolie. And of course, Sigourney Weaver in the Bruce Willis position. Thanks for your time and keep up the awesome show."
Things are moving forward with this project. We already know that Gina Carano is signed on, I believe, that she's going to be part of it. And Katie Sackhoff, who played Starbuck in the Battlestar Galactica remake, and I believe she's in the new Riddick film coming up here pretty soon. Anyway, she just signed on recently, and she was being interviewed and said, yeah, it is happening. She goes, we're in a really slow stage right now, but this movie is happening. Some other names that have been mentioned have been names like Bridget Nielsen from Red Sonja, Jennifer Garner, Lucy Lawless, probably like a Zhang Ji Yi, Zoe Saldana's been mentioned. So there've been a lot of names mentioned. All I know for sure that are signed on right now are Gina Carano and Katie Sackhoff. But they say it's happening. They say it is moving ahead. So yeah, let's keep our fingers crossed, and I can't wait to see this.
Brian S. writes, "Hey, John and crew. I watch the show daily and think that I'm addicted to it. What I want to know is, where is the sequel to Get Smart? It's been 5 years. I thought they were working on making a sequel, so what happened to it? I want another Get Smart movie."
Yeah, I like Get Smart. It wasn't as good as I was hoping it would be, but I still thought it was a charming little film. I liked it, and there were talks about doing a sequel. As a matter of fact, Steve Carell wrote the script for the sequel himself. That was way back in 2010, and he said Tina Fey was in it, was going to be in it. She's on board to be in it. I believe him and Alan Arkin were talking about doing it again, but then him and Alan Arkin went off and did Wonderstone together instead. But as far as I know, that's as far as it went. I think all plans for Get Smart 2 died, which is really unfortunate because there were plans for it. Steve Carell himself wrote the script, but I believe at this point the plans have been canned. I don't think we're going to see Get Smart 2.
Jacob writes, "Hey there, just want to say that I love the show. I just want to say that I love the Rocky movies, and even though they are over, I think that there could be one more movie in the series. It wouldn't center around Rocky though. Instead, they could make it about a teenage kid, maybe Rocky's grandson, who begins to work with Rocky as his boxing coach. I think that this would be a really cool thing for the series to do because they could explore different elements in it, like bullies, trying to manage your personal life with your school life, and a lot more that would apply to a teenage audience."
Hey, Jacob, thanks for the question. First of all, they already kind of did a Rocky movie where he's retired and now becomes the teacher. That was Rocky V with Tommy Gunn. And I don't dislike the idea that you're talking about, this kid dealing with issues like bullying and things like that, but that's not a Rocky movie. That's an ABC after-school special. And maybe you can make a really good movie out of that, but there's no need to attach the Rocky name to it. That has nothing to do with Rocky. This sounds like a really neat idea for a movie. I just don't see the need to attach Rocky to that and call it a Rocky movie when it really has nothing to do with Rocky and nothing to do with the series or the tone of the series up to that point. So I can't say I'm on board with the idea.
Plus, isn't that like Karate Kid?
Yeah, yeah. Rocky becomes Mr. Miyagi. Just no need for it.
Septeam Z writes, "First, I would like to say thanks for being so awesome. Love the show.
You're welcome."
My question is in regards to Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch being in the Avengers 2 movie. Why can't they be mutants? Campia has mentioned that Disney Marvel can use the siblings so long as they don't mention their parentage or the fact that they are mutants. Because Magneto is owned by Fox, I can see why they wouldn't allow their heritage to be known in the Disney Marvel universe, but being hush-hush on the fact that their powers came from being mutants seems nitpicky. Does this mean mutants don't exist at all in the Disney Marvel universe? Does Fox own the cornerstone to everything mutant?"
This is a great question and one I've been getting asked a lot. So just give you a bit of background. The characters of Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, Joss Whedon has said that they're going to be using in Avengers 2. That's been confirmed. Now, Marvel President Kevin Feige said, well, the rights to Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch actually belong both to Fox and Marvel. And Marvel can use them as long as there is no reference to the fact that they are Magneto's kids and no reference to them being mutants. But the reason that's important, that mutant part is important, is because in the Fox universe of X-Men, the whole concept of mutants is a key core element to the whole narrative of the X-Men. The fact that there are mutants in the world and this subculture of people who have these different mutations and different parts of evolution that are now outcasts and heroes and all this kind of stuff, that is a really key functional part of who X-Men are. And therefore, Marvel can't use that. Marvel can't introduce this notion of mutant heroes and villains and blah, 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 because that really kind of goes counter and kind of steps on the toes of everything that Fox is doing in their universe. And so on that level, it makes sense. Now, that doesn't mean that the word mutant is exclusively owned by Fox. You can create a brand new character. I have to believe that Marvel can create a brand new character and just say, toxic acid face boy and just say that he has a mutation. You can do that without introducing the idea of a subculture and subclass of human beings that are mutants, which really starts obviously treading on X-Men ground. So that's why they can't do it. And really, when you think about it, it does make perfect sense. Well, listen, folks, that'll do it for us. Thank you so much for joining us today. But listen, while I've got you, before you do anything else, I want you to take a second and click that subscribe button. Become a subscriber to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It'll keep you up to date on everything going on in the world of movie news and, of course, our daily AMC Movie Talk show. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/AMC Theaters. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/AMC Theaters. If you want to listen to an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video and you'll find links to our iTunes and Stitcher Radio audio podcasts. And don't forget, head on out and see a movie tonight. You can get your tickets, go on out, get your tickets now in advance for Hangover 3 or Fast 6. Go see Iron Man, go see Star Trek. Lots of great stuff in AMC Theaters right now. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for your theater, showtime, and movie ticket information. And once again, click that subscribe button. I want to thank, as always, our very lovely host, Miss Clark Wolf.
Thank you for having me, John.
The now sitting way over there, Associate Editor of AMC Movie News, Miss Amy Rose Eisenbach. And most importantly, thank you to you guys. Listen, the most important part of this show is absolutely not what we have to say up here. It's what you have to say. Make sure you jump on down to the comment section, leave your thoughts on any or all the topics we discussed here today. Agree with us, disagree with us. That's the best part about being a film fan. So until next time, my name's John Campia for AMC Movie News. And until then, bye-bye.